All right, well, welcome back everybody. So I'm really excited about this episode. Why? Because it's finally cool enough, although it's warming up, to do some firewood. I've wanted to do some all summer, but thankfully we just didn't have a whole lot of storms blow any trees down, so I didn't have no reason to cut none up early. And it's just been stinking hot this summer, so hot. So the last thing I want to do is go out in the woods when it's burning up hot and start lugging firewood around and cutting trees down. Met a lot of snakes this year, ticks, just everything else. So not a whole lot of reason to be out there until it cools off like it has now. So what I've done is I rode around yesterday and I found 3 trees at the moment that are standing but have been dead for quite some time. I'm not sure if they're going to be completely rotten or good, but the fact they're still standing is good news. And one of them's a really, really big cherry tree. I wish I had found it last year. That would have been the perfect time to get it. I've already had a few people asking me about some firewood. Plus, as you can see, we're already starting to burn some. We're going to continue to the next several nights until it warms back up. So I better go get in gear and get on some firewood to try to help a few people out and to keep my stash going as well. So again, I don't know the condition of these trees. We're going to start with the big cherry tree today. I'll get the other 2 in another episode. And if this is good, it should already be somewhat seasoned, being that it looks like it's been dead for a couple of years. Hopefully we don't cut into it and find that it's rotten. If we do, we'll just move on to the next tree. So let's load up the chainsaw, get out in the woods, start cutting some firewood. Finally. Probably one of my more popular videos on the channel is using this Stihl 2-in-1 sharpener. I've got one for my small MS-170 and one for my 260 Pro here today. As quick and easy as this makes sharpening, it's a no-brainer to always touch a chain up before you go out and start cutting up a tree. And if I nick the dirt or cut into a piece of metal, fence wire, something like that, I always bring it with me out here in the field because I can just throw it right back on the front of the tractor, back of the Ranger, touch my chain back up in literally 3 minutes. It makes sharpening foolproof. I love this thing. Highly recommend it. All right, well, here's the tree in question. This big old cherry right here, and it's got a really, really hard lean that direction. So I consider this kind of a dangerous tree, being that it's partially rotten and has a heavy lean. I'm gonna have to be real careful. Luckily for me, I only see one little tree right here that's gonna take some collateral damage. It may knock a few limbs off that magnolia, but that's okay. They're a dime a dozen out here in these woods. So I'm gonna set up to make a cut. I've got me a clear exit back here, and hopefully I can drop it right over here toward the tractor. It's a big wide open area, and I can actually drive the tractor in here now that I just pushed a little bit of stuff out of the way and start picking up these rounds. So wish me luck. Well, she went a bit early, and I see why. She is definitely rotten. So I wasn't nowhere near where I needed to be toward my face cut, and this thing went ahead and snapped and went. I see why. This front half of that tree is rotten. You can see when it hit the ground up here, it just exploded. So I don't know if I'm gonna get much, if any, wood out of this. It looks completely hollow. I hate that. Man, I sure thought I was gonna get something out of it. But I guess there's one way to find out. We'll go ahead and cut into this section, see if we can salvage anything. If not, we're on to the next tree. I don't know how much we'll get, but at least we'll get something for my time out here. Just cut that end off and it is nice and solid. So hopefully I can get 8 or 10 feet here of solid cherry. Man, that was a beautiful tree. That'll make a lot of firewood. And the good news is I have a cherry rack that I need to finish topping off. So let me go ahead and buck up a few more rounds here. All right, so this is where I was driving in to go get that cherry tree back there, and I noticed this oak right here has the top blown out of it right there. So it's not a very good looking oak now that the top was blown out. It looks like years ago. But the other thing I have noticed is all the limbs, I'm starting to see dead leaves, including the tips of these bigger limbs up here. So this oak is on its way out. You can look at the bark and tell it's starting to die off on this side of the tree. So it is time to take this because Mother Nature's already trying to do it right now. Oaks are by far my favorite tree, and I don't cut them unless they're blown down or they're damaged. I think they're a very valuable, important tree for the ecosystem around here. You know, all the animals eat the nuts off of it and make nests and shelter in it. So I really, really like oaks. But when I see one in a condition like this, I'm gonna cut it because it's some of the best firewood we have down here. Well, we've got all the wood up here. I've got a few more pieces stacked over here because that rack has got some oak in it and is mostly empty. And I just stuck some over here that I think will easily fill this up because we'll probably finish burning this rack tonight and start into this one. We'll have fires for the next several nights until it gets in the 80s again next week, and then we're probably done for a little bit. So the cherries, hit or miss. You can see some of these pieces are just rotting through to the core. I'll try to salvage a little bit of good stuff on the outside. If it's just too bad, I'll chunk it over there in the pile. That piece I know I can get some solid wood out of. And then you got pieces like this that are solid all the way through, look beautiful. That piece is pretty solid. This piece right here is very solid. And this one only has a small hole in it. Now, as far as all the oak goes, it was perfect. I mean, it's still wet, green, solid, good wood. There was only one piece that I'd seen where I got near the top that was starting to show a little sign of rot. So everything else is nice, green, and good for next year. So that's what we're technically doing now, getting a jump on next year. And boy, I can tell I'm rusty. I got these pieces 2 to 4 inches shorter than I typically cut them. So, man, I got to get back in the groove. Well, all right, y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. That's kind of one of the things that I absolutely love to do on this channel is firewood. I just had to wait for it to cool off a little. Like I said, there's still a couple more trees out there we're going to cut, so firewood's just getting started. There's a couple really big trees down on my neighbors that I've been talking about. I just need to go over there and knock on the door and say, hey, would you like for me to, clean this tree up? It's blown down from the storm, and they obviously hadn't done nothing with it. It's been on the ground for over a year. And one of these oaks is this big. It's huge. It's a be perfect, beautiful firewood oak. It'd probably fill up the majority of these racks right here. It's so big. So I need to go there and knock on the door. I bet they would probably enjoy me cleaning it up anyways. So that'd make a few good videos. Cut up all that firewood, put the root rake on the tractor and go push all those limbs, clean their yard up. That's assuming they want me to. So I'll find that out over the next week or so. With that said, there's still more firewood to cut here. I know a lot of y'all enjoy it, so I do plan on having more of that on the channel. Oh, and so all these rounds on the ground, you know what that means. We've got us a splitter video coming up. Like I always say, thank y'all so much for the channel support. We truly do appreciate it, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.